think that Granny felt maybe a sense of fear that if we didn't assimilate and read and speak properly, if we didn't speak properly and read widely, that we would struggle in British society?
Yes, I mean, you have to remember that the whole purpose of her coming here, was for us to have a better life and better prospects. And that meant, to ensure that, she had to make sure that, she influenced us. She was very deliberate in how she spoke to us. And she used to encourage us to learn a new word every day.
Okay.
So your granny was a very worldly woman, but she hadn't travelled anywhere really. She travelled the world through books, and she acquired knowledge about different cultures and different foods, different languages, different religions. And she was so knowledgeable just generally. And I think that, bits of that's trickled down through all of us, really.
So in Keisha the Skit, I use a lot of slang influenced by the Caribbean, but also British culture, British vernacular of the time from a specific sort of social group.
Yeah.
But I definitely didn't learn any of that at home. I didn't hear really thick Caribbean accents at home.
Yeah.
And I definitely wasn't hearing slang words and stuff at home. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a whole different language. You wrote in a whole different language because we didn't speak like that, did we?
Yeah. But I think that's why I was so interested in it, because it still represents a part of my identity in ways.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, I think Granny was really deliberate about us speaking properly.
Yeah.
And assimilating.
Yeah.
I wonder what I sometimes I think I wonder like
what she would make of the book.
Yeah.
Well, of course, she'd be immensely proud, and although she might not be able to relate to the subject matter and stuff, she'd be immensely proud because it's a bold move, isn't it?
Yeah. I also think that she herself would probably be really surprised at the fact that this has been welcomed into the literary canon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's different. It's a reflection of the different times that we live in, isn't it?
Yeah. I know that organisations like the Black Curriculum are ultimately advocating for reform in the national curriculum. What do you think about the prospects of Keisha the Skit being on the national curriculum?
Oh, gosh. Well, I don't know what to say. I mean, I would imagine that there are lots of young women that are inspired by what you've done and how you've done it. And there'll be lots more coming up that will be able to be, read everywhere and included in the curriculum. And
yeah, because I remember reading To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah.
That was the text that we had to really focus on in my final year of school. And prior to that, it was Shakespeare.
Yeah.
And even though I feel like our teachers tried to make it as interesting as possible and to try and show like these are stories of, real social issues being told. So in To Kill a Mockingbird, there is the theme of racism. But we just still didn't get it or understand it.
It wasn't really relatable to our experience, was it? Because I think growing up, there was a lot of American experiences. And although it was interesting, of course, we couldn't relate to it. We read To Kill a Mockingbird. So, it's just the same regurgitated story. And it's crazy.
Yeah.
So it really does need a big shake-up and fresh eyes on it. And
yeah, I guess it is a signal to like how archaic these institutions are.
And also the English language is constantly evolving. It doesn't have to stay the same in literature, does it? That should be evolving also.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think that just the opportunity to be published, to have what I was witnessing when I was a teenager published into text and as part of the literary canon, and to do that through a publisher like Murky Books as well, I think is also a signal to change or a call to action for an archaic institution like literature, to begin changing things.
When I started secondary school and I started to gel with my friends and go to their homes, I saw a lot of differences between how I was raised and how they were raised. And people think that, we're all quite similar, but actually we were very, very different. And Granny was very particular in how she wanted us to be raised. And she would ensure that we were well read, and that we didn't just focus on any one thing, that we had a broad understanding of different things and different cultures. It was really important to her. And you would have thought she travelled the world, but actually she travelled the world through books. And that's how she wanted us to be.
Do you remember the first time that you were paid for a painting?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a bit of imposter syndrome, I'm not going to lie. I thought, oh gosh, and sometimes when I produce a piece of work, I think I like it, but no one else is going to like it. And then I'll do something and someone really likes it and I'm like not that keen on it. But what was it like for you? Because you just did it like completely off on a different scale.
Yeah. I don't think that I had any conception of anyone having an opinion on what I was creating when I was creating it.
Yeah, this is what I love about your generation. You just do it and nobody, this
not
is me.
bothered.
Yeah.